Welcome back to Rabbit Trace YouTube channel. In today's class, we're going to learn how to make this beautiful drawstring jumpsuit. So it has an elastic on the chest area. It has a drawstring that make you wear it as a free jumpsuit or a fitted jumpsuit. I'll take you through how to cut and sew this in this class. If this is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. So this jumpsuit is very easy. It's a free jumpsuit, so you don't need so much measurement. The most important measurement you need is your hip, because that's what we are going to be using on the bust area as well. It does not have a zipper, so you are going to be wearing it from your leg. So now I'm cutting the trouser part first before I cut the half length. So for the trouser, you can see I've ruled a line here because I'm going to be using this cervix part as my seam allowance. So I'm going to start measuring from here. So this is going to serve as my waistline. So the first measurement I'm going to be taking is my crotch depth. So to get your crotch depth, for your normal crotch, you just need to do your hip divided by 4. In this case, we are working with hip 40. So 40 divided by 4 is going to give me 10, but because this is a jumpsuit, I'm adding 2 inches extra to that. So from my waistline here, I'm going to be marking 12 inches, and that is going to serve as my crotch depth. So once I have the 12 inches there, I'm going to take my ruler and then make that into a straight line. So like I said, it's a free jumpsuit. So on this part now, I'm going to take my hip divided by 4, which is 10. So for ease, depending on how free you want the jumpsuit to be, you can add from 2 to 4 inches. So for me, I'm going to add 3 to 3.5 inches. So if I'm adding 3.5 inches to 10, I'll have 13.5. So what I'm going to do is to mark 13.5 on this side like this, and then I'll go over to the waistline as well and then mark the 13.5, and then I'm going to make that into a straight line. So this is important for you to get your crotch curve. So now for your crotch extension, to get your crotch curve, the next thing you need to do is to divide that hip again, that 40, you divide it by 16. It's a constant as well. So once you divide by 16, for me 40 divided by 16 is 2.5. so from where my hip line stop, you can see the line that we marked on the hip. So from there, I'm going to mark the 2.5 inches, which is my crotch extension, and I have it there. So to create my crotch curve, this center where they intersect like this, at that angle 90, I'm going to come outwards diagonally by 1 inch, and then I'm going to take my curved ruler and create a curve, a crotch curve on that part. So I'm going ahead to draw my crotch curve. The next thing now is to take these measurements down. It's like a palazzo, so we are not shaping anything. So you can easily measure what you have from this outer part all the way to the crotch extension, and you maintain that measurement downwards. Mine is 16 inches. So what I will do is just to mark 16 inches all the way to the hem like this. So I'll mark 16 inches, and then I'm going to connect it into a straight line. Then I will cut out the front part of my trouser. So I'm going to use this front to cut the back as well. You can cut the front and back the same way actually, because it's very free, so there is not going to be any problem. So if you are doing that, what you just need to do is to simply fold your fabric into 4. The length that I have on my Ankara is the length that I need for my fabric. That's why I'm not cutting anything out. But if you don't have the same length, all you just need to do on your waistline, you remove your half length. Mine is 17, and then you mark whatever full length that you want. Mine is 60 inches. I have 60 inches here, and I'm going to be using the extra 2 inches for folding. So now I'll cut this out. So after cutting out the front, for the back, you just need to fold your fabric again into 2. So if your fabric have a particular pattern, you have to take note of that before you place your front pattern. So once I fold it, this is what I'm going to have. Now I'm going to bring the front pattern, and then I will lay it on the new fabric that I folded. So I'm going to be adding to the crotch extension at the back. That's basically what the difference I want to do at the back. So you make sure that you have excess. This is where the front stop. You see that I still have a little bit here. So you are going to lay the front very well on the back like this. Once it is laid, I'm going to add to my crotch extension. Sorry, the fabric is very colorful. Just watch what I'm doing. So now this is my crotch depth. So for the back, I'm going to go ahead and extend this crotch depth like this. So I'm extending mine by 1.5 inches. You can do 2 inches if it's for a big size. So I have 1.5 inches here. Also on the crotch cuff, this is my crotch cuff here, I'm going to extend that by 1.5 inches as well. Okay, and that is all I'm going to be doing to this. So I'll take my cuff ruler. I'm not extending it on the upper part here, so I'm just going to take the ruler and then link it to what I have already on my upper part. Okay, so I'm going to connect it like this, and then I'll turn it again and link it to where the 1.5 inch stops. So you make sure that you have a very smooth cuff connecting all of them together, so you don't have to do it once, you can do it in bits. So now that this is done, I'm going to link this 1.5 back to the leg of my pants. So I'll just take my pants cuff like this and then connect it. We have done pants tutorials severally on the channel, so I'm sure we are familiar with this already. So once I have this, I'll grab my scissors again and go ahead to cut the back. The back is cut, so now you can see. Okay, this is where I just link this back to what I have coming. So this side is still closed. I'm going to go ahead and open up this side because the pocket is going to run through that side, so you need it to be opened. So I'm going to set this aside now and then work on the half length. So the half length is like an off shoulder bodice, so you need to note how much you are going off by. So for me, I'll be going off by around 6 inches. So I'll just put my fabric on fold again by what I used for my hip. So in this case, I use my hip divided by 4 plus 3 inches. That was what I used for the one I did. That's for the trouser. I used hip divided by 4 plus 3 inches. So I'm going to do the same thing for this as well. I'm going to divide my hip by 4. Okay, so but in this case, I'm not going to add 3 inches to my hip because this does not have any joining at the front, at the center front. But for the trouser, we are going to be joining it on the crotch area, so that's going to take part of it, and I don't want this upper part to be in excess. So instead of adding hip divided by 4 plus 3.5 that I did earlier, I'm going to just add maybe 3 inches or 3.25 to this. So that's going to give me around 12.25. So that is what I have here. And then for the main body, for the length, remember I said my half length is 17 inches. So again, I'm going to mark this excess. This blouse will have an elastic, a 1 inch elastic, to gather it on the chest line. So for that, I want to cut my channel together. So I'm marking 1.25 for the elastic. I'm marking 1.25 for the elastic so that I will just cut it together and fold it in. So this next mark that I have here is for folding in my elastic. So it's not part of the actual measurement that I'm working with. So once I have that, from there I'm going to go ahead now and take my actual measurement. So I said I'll be going up by 6 inches, so I'm removing 6 inches from my measurement, and it's starting from that where that channel stops. So here you are going to mark the 17 inches or whatever measurement that you are working with for your blouse length, for the half length. So here again, I'm going to add extra 1 inch for this for allowance. So I'm marking 18 inches instead. So once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and connect them together, and then I'll cut this out. So I'm going to be cutting the front and back exact same way. Like I said, it does not have a zipper, so you don't have to open it at the center back. If you are working with a zipper, then you can go ahead and open it. In fact, if you don't want it to have a side seam and you have enough fabric, you can just cut it straight. It does not have to, you don't have to join it at the side as well, because we are not shaping anything. So you can just cut it on one single fabric, but I don't want to waste too much fabric. That is why I am folding my fabric like this, so that I can cut two separate for front and back. So I'm just placing this front that I already cut out on another fabric again, and then I'm going to use that to cut the back. I hope that makes sense. But like I said, if you have no fabric, you can just cut one single piece. So your hip divided by 4 plus 2 or 2.5, whatever you are working with, you just multiply that by 4 so that you have one straight fabric. If you don't understand, just comment in the comment section, then I'll try to explain. So this is the front and back. I'm just going to use my chalk to mark on it because it's a 100% Ankara fabric and 100% cotton, and the front and back are not so, it's not easy to differentiate between the front and back. So this is my front and back. The last thing I'm going to be cutting now is my pocket. I want to use a slant pocket for this, not the regular inseam pocket. So the rest of the fabric that I have here is what I'm going to be using for that pocket, and that is what I'm cutting out now. I'm sure we know how to cut our slant V-shaped pocket already. To shape the front pocket, you can see this is the pocket. I've laid it, so when you are done, the pocket is going to be like this. So the slant is just going to be on one side, that's why you have to open it up like this. I can see I folded the two sides together. So I'm going to bring the front of my pocket, the two of them, and then I'm going to lay it. Make sure that the waistlines are aligning just like you have it here. And you're going to measure whatever inch that you want to use for your slants. So you can do 2 or 3 inches. So for me here, I'm just going to come in by around 2.5 inches here, and then you're going to mark the length you want for your pocket opening as well. I'm going to be doing 6 inches or 6.5 inches for this. So once you have those 2 points, you're going to take your ruler and then you're going to create like a little slant, more like a curve there. So once you create it, you're going to grab your scissors and then you're going to cut out that curve. So now this is my scissors. I'm going to go ahead and cut this slant that I did. You're going to cut the pocket together with your trouser so that it's going to be easy for you to. So you can see this is my 2 pockets, and this is my 2 trouser, and this is my 2 pockets. So now you can cover it like this, and you will see this is what your slant pocket is going to look like by the time you are done. So now the next thing is to go ahead and start to sew this. So this, the first thing I'm going to do now is to sew the pocket to the front, and then I'm going to join the crotch of the front and back together. Okay, there's a tutorial on how you can sew a slant pocket already on the channel, so if you don't know how to, you can check that. So I'll go ahead now and sew the crotch for both front and back. This is the back. I'm going to join the crotch of the back as well, and then I'm going to also sew in my slant pocket to the front. I've gone ahead to join the crotch. You can see this is the crotch. It is joined already. So this is the back. The back does not have pockets. This is the back, and this is the front. I also joined the crotch for the front as well, you can see, and I've also fixed my slant pocket. So this is the pocket already fixed to the front. This is what it looks like on the wrong side, so make sure that it is as neat as possible. Okay, this is it on the right side. So like I said, there's a tutorial on how you can fix a slant pocket already on the channel. So if you don't know how to, let me know and I'm going to link it down below. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and join the side, not the inseam yet. Okay, the under area of the crotch is the inseam. I'm not going to join that yet. I'm going to join the 2 sides of the pants. That's the pocket area. That's because I want to create a drawstring on the waist, and if this part is still opened, it's going to make it easier for me. Not that you cannot sew it with your inseam closed, but it just makes it easier when you can fully open your pants. That's why I'm not joining the inner part yet. So here I'm going to go ahead and join the side for the trouser. So I'll do the same thing for the upper part as well. So I'm going to join the both of them. Remember that I said it's not going to be shaped, so that's why I said if you have enough fabric and you can sew it on one single, and you can cut it on one single fabric, you can do that as well. So what I will do is to take the front and back. There is no zipper here, so no zipper allowance. I'm going to take the front and back, lay them on each other like this, and then I'm going to be joining it by the side here. I'll join it on the 2 sides. Then after joining it, remember we're going to be running an elastic through it, so I'll just fold this is the allowance for the elastic. I'm going to fold this in like this and then fold in like 1/2 inch, and then I'll sew it round. I'm using a 1-inch elastic, so whatever casing you are doing, make sure that it can comfortably accommodate the width of the elastic you are working with. So I'll go ahead and do this now and bring it back to show us. Okay, so I've gone ahead to do that. You can see the sides are joined now. The only part opened in the trouser is the inseam area, this part. Okay, this is what it looks like on the inside, I have joined it. So you can use inseam like a French seam like I did, or you can sew and then you weave it. Just make sure it is neat. So this is what this trouser look like, and this is the half length. This is what it looks like. I've also joined it on the side. Okay, I used inseam for that as well. And then on the upper part, I created that channel that I need to pass my elastic. So now this channel is enough for my 1 inch elastic. You just leave out an opening where you can pass your elastic through. So to know the amount of elastic you are going to need for this, you are just going to divide your hip by 2. Okay, the hip I'm working with is 40. 40 divided by 2 is 20. So if you want it very fitted, you can use the 20. If you just want it to be normal, you don't want it too fitted, you can add between 3 to 5 inches to that 20. So for me, I'm going to add 3 inches to that 20. So I'm going to cut out an elastic of 23 inches here, and that is what I'm going to pass through the chest area. 23 inches elastic. So you are going to take you can use your elasticator or your safety pin, whichever one you have, and then you're going to use that to pass elastic round the casing you created on the chest. Okay, so this is my elastic, and this is the channel that I left open. So from that channel, I'm going to pass it. Make sure that it does not bend, just pass it and arrange it well. So, and also make sure that maybe you hold this part with the pin, you don't want it to go inside. So just pass it all around, and then you're going to sew the elastic at the two ends. Then you close up that channel. So you can leave your elastic as it is like this. For me, I'm going to be top stitching on the elastic, so I'm going to be running 2 stitches on the upper part and the lower part. That's how I want mine. You can actually do whatever you want with your own. So I'm just stretching the elastic, but when you're stretching, make sure that this other hand does not go inside. So that's all you need to do basically. So we're on the other end of the elastic now, and I'm going to bring it out. You can see it have come off, so I'll find a way to still put my elasticator inside and pull it out. So these are the two ends of the elastic. You are going to lock it in here, and then you close this up. So now I'm going to top stitch round it, just like I said. You are going to spread out the elastic evenly. Okay, then you are going to top stitch. If you want my tutorial on jumbo pants, you will know how to do this already. So you are going to top stitch on it twice before we sew it to the trouser. I've gone ahead to top stitch it. You can see what it looks like now. Okay, you can also leave yours without top stitching, but I just prefer it this way. So now the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and sew the front and back together. So you are going to match your side seam. There is no center seam in the front and back of the upper part, so it's just the side seam. So you are going to match the side of your top to your side of your pants, and you do the same thing for the other one, and then you sew them together before we create our drawstring. I've gone ahead to join the upper part to the lower part, and you will see that our jumpsuit is now together. So the inseam is still opened, it's still not sewn yet. The next thing I want to do now is to create a channel. So this channel is going to be in between the half length and the trouser. I've cut out my fabric for the channel, so I'll just move like half an inch away from the crotch line here. You are going to sew it, hem it inwards, and then I'm going to fold on the two sides. So there are two ways you can do it. You can either fold and top stitch on it like this, or you can sew the first one like this, then you are going to fold this. That way you have only one seam. So you can actually do this, or you can also use the seam allowance that you use to join these two together. You can also use that to create your casing. So you just sew it outwards instead of inwards. Remember, this is our own seam here inside. So if you want to use your seam allowance, you make sure that your seam allowance is big, like maybe 1 inch. You won't use half an inch. And when you join it together, you're going to join it outwards like this. So the seam allowance that you have on the crotch area, you are going to fold it in so that you'll be able to open it a little bit on this crotch line for the ropes to pass through. But for me, I just want to do my externally, so I've cut out the rope for the casing. What I'm going to do now is to fold like this, and then I'm going to sew, then I'll flip it and fold the seam allowance and then top stitch on this so that I can pass my rope through this. So I'll do this all around. So that's why I left this open, so easily I'll be able to spread this open. Then when I'm done creating the casing, I'll go ahead and close my inseam. So you can see I've gone ahead to create the channel, so you can see the hole here. So this is the crotch line, so I just moved like half an inch away on both sides, and then I just sew the channel on it. So this is what I have now. I also made 4 ropes for my sleeve, so I made 4 ropes. So the place I placed the rope, I just stretched it out from the side. This is the side seam, so from the side I stretched it, and while stretched I measured 6 inches towards the center, and I fixed my rope. I did the same thing for the back. I stretched it out, measured 6 inches, and then I sew it on the, you can see this is the rope inside. I sew it on the same line where I sew my elastic. So I did the same thing for the other side as well. From this side, you look for your side seam. So this is my side seam. From the side seam I stretched it out, and then I measured 6 inches and placed my strap. I did the same thing for the other side. So I have 4 straps now, which is going to double as your sleeve. So when you wear it, you just tie it to the shoulder anyhow you want it to be. So that is the strap. So now the last thing to do now is to close the inseam. So now after creating my channel, I went ahead to close my inseam. You can see the inseam, and then I hemmed the trouser on the hemline. Okay, so I've already created the rope that I'm going to use for my drawstring. What you need to do now is to take your safety pin, and then you pass the drawstring round. So that's all you need to do. I'll take it to the mannequin so that we can see what it looks like. So this is what the jumpsuit looks like. You can see how beautiful it turned out. So if you want it to be free, just loosen out the drawstring, and if you want it fitted, you just tie it to fit your waistline. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one.